click the links for Odysee and BitChute. This is a little bit of a tricksy article, and I see people are going to cover it. I think they're missing out on what he's doing here. He comes off as apologetic for his perception of wrongdoing. Did he do wrong? It's up to him. It's what is right or wrong when you live in Peak-Weimar commercial zone America. Right is whatever can accrue you more personal wealth, and wrong is whatever gets the social justice mob after you. There's no everything is kind of wishy-washy in Mao's revolutionary commercial zone America. Okay, he starts off, you think he's doing something cool. He thinks he did something wrong, and he's kind of apologizing for it. But the reason I'm making this video is because he does something very, very insidious, and I think I'm going to have to handle it very, very carefully. And I think other channels that are going to cover this are just going to completely skip over it, and I'm going to touch on it as delicately as I can. We'll get to it in about 5 minutes. The Simpsons actor... He's recently revealed he feels the need to apologize to every Indian in North America over his depiction of Apu, the beloved character in some super, super normie garbage show, The Simpsons. I know there are people who love The Simpsons. Why? It's just plastic, not my cup of tea. The whole controversy began a few years ago when Apu was deemed to be offensive by comedian Harry Kondabalu in his documentary titled The Problem with Apu. Okay, now what is going on with this is there's this circular circle jerk. It starts with this guy Harry. He starts with the premise of I need money. If you think he has some altruistic idea of wanting to take care of his people, no, get that thought the fudge out of your mind. His premise is, I need money for cocaine and hookers. How do I get money for my cocaine and ladyboy? Ladies of negotiable affection? Well, I write an article or I make a documentary where I get these dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, bukkake facial bath clicks from social media of outrage. I can get outraged cat ladies to get their dopamine by also commenting on the outrage. It's all bullshit from the start. This guy doesn't care about anything. He cares about growing his social media platform. So he makes an article or a documentary, and for that his PayPal, his Patreon goes up. He gets a bigger social media footprint. He gets more stuff coming in. He gets his name out there. That's what it's all about. He doesn't give a darn about this. Hank Azaria is not a good guy. He starts off fooling you. You think he's a good guy, and then at the last minute, he switches it. He deflects and pivots very, very carefully to blame a group of people that he's not a part of. And I had to let a few minutes go by in the video because the algorithm works, and I've got to very carefully not say certain words. So Harry Kondabalu's video. The problem with the character is running joke is Indian. Yeah, but the thing is they also make fun of a Scottish guy. So it's that's not problematic. You're just picking one character over another because of the color of his skin. Everyone has feelings. Offensive's subjective. During a recent interview, Azaria talked about voicing Apu's lessons. He says, I was speaking at my son's schools, talking to the Indian students, two of them out of 1,000. 17-year-old knew that Apu was practically a slur at this point. Now, here's the thing. Azaria has been doing this voice for 20 years. You knew it was offensive in 2020 when you first started the voice. Things weren't that different in 2000. I mean, it was offensive back then. Things haven't changed. How is "thank you, come again" or in the whatever lame voice he did? How is that not offensive? With tears in his eyes, he said to me, it was so sweet. So now, he's doing this mea culpa after he's been in the industry for 20 years. He probably owns several homes and a Mercedes AMG. He's done. He's fine. He's loaded for life. So after 20 years, he says this, which is, Sacha Baron Cohen, Sarah Silverman, Amy Schumer, they all did this. like after they made their money, now they come out and say, oh, well, some jokes are off limits for you. But you guys have been in the industry for decades. You've made literally millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. But after they make their money, they say, okay, no, now the rules have to change, so you can't do these jokes. How does that work? Guys, it's all hypocritical. All this, even this guy, the hairy guy who did the documentary, it's all for this bottom line, because there's no morals. America is just a commercial zone for a very wealthy few bankers and these elite 1%, fraction of a percent of people who are multimillionaires and on up. So with tears in his eyes, he says, would you please tell the writers in Hollywood that what they do really matters in people's lives? People in Hollywood are the lowest vermin scum. There is nothing they wouldn't sink to. If you've watched Hollywood over the past 40 years, I don't mean you've necessarily been alive that long and paying attention, but you can watch Hollywood. It's degeneration, it's corruption, it's just eating itself over the years, over the decades. Like, there's nothing they won't stoop to. They will have children being hurt in future films. You know it. They're already normalizing that type of stuff. Think of the things, like not just the scatological humor, but the more subtle, invidious, malicious things you see that are kind of foreboding of things that are upcoming on the horizon that you've seen in Hollywood so far. As far as I can say for YouTube, but if you pay attention to pop culture, I know you know what I'm talking about. So you think Azaria is he's got tears in his eyes and he's just depicting this scene and all this. It's like, you did it for 20 years, buddy. You probably live in Hollywood with several rental properties. So this is all just frosting on the cake. This is all just plastic BS. He wants to apologize. Well, gee, why don't you donate some of your fortune to... So then he references Peter Sellers' performance in a movie called... I gotta be careful here. Okay, now, this is what made me make the video. This part of the video now at minute 7.5. Now, here's a great example of white privilege. What? Sellers? He's from the Middle East. He's not white. Hank Azaria is from the Middle East. He's not white. You started off doing something good. You started off taking personal accountability. You felt you did something wrong. Or maybe you just wanted some more dopamine by just saying that, it was a cultural zeitgeist. You didn't really know what was what in the year 2000. Though the year 2000, it's like it was offensive back then. So you pivot and you blame a group that you don't belong to. Really weird. You started off so well, and then instead of blaming your own group, your own tribe that you're a part of, this is between you and Hindu Indians. It has nothing to do with white people. So why would you deflect it off to them? That's a really dirty, dirty thing to do. To me, as a 15-year-old, I saw that movie. There's no difference between how funny Peter Sellers was as a French guy, German, or a Indian guy. Okay, so now Peter Sellers is, again, from the Middle East. He's not French, German, or Indian. Isn't it just as offensive that he's doing caricatures of Germans and French? Isn't that just as offensive? Oh, well, no, because screw them. We don't care about them. Yeah, that's the hypocrisy. That's why I make these videos. And, I don't care if 100 people see it. I make the videos to point out the hypocrisy, and kind of in the hope that other people will also make videos and start pointing out the hypocrisy. Hey, man, get on Odysee, get on BitChute, and get on Gab TV. Odysee especially. Odysee is a very smooth running platform. So I'm happily homaging this joyous character of Apu because it's a joyful performance by Sellers, another not white guy who's probably blamed white people for doing blackface, essentially. While also adding that Sellers' performance was very marginalizing and racist. Then why the fudge did you do it? Oh, because they paid me $600,000 a season? Oh, okay, that's probably why you did it. And, you do appearances at cons, and you probably make quite a bit of money doing that. So you're going to, donate some of that money to something? Anything? No, just going to continue to drive my AMG around. If you don't know, it's a $200,000 Mercedes version. Okay, now what you're doing is you're also marginalizing and oppressing white people by blaming them for your bad acts. White people had nothing to do with you. But please, continue to lecture us about your white privilege. Oh my. Anyway, get on Odysee and BitChute. I'll see you guys next episode. Maybe.